Next is from Matthew Ince. Subject is Rollins. Hey K100, mostly Konnan, but hopefully Disco too. WWE just uploaded a shoot interview with Seth Rollins going really in depth on his feud with CM Punk. It was really amazing stuff, but what I would love to know from you guys is what have you heard about Seth Rollins behind the scenes? Does he have a good reputation? I read once in a dirt sheet, which is why I don't believe it, that Rollins was known to be a complainer backstage and would complain when he'd be asked to do jobs, or then also complain about being left off certain shows, yet then at the same time he complained about how beat up he was feeling. Likely all dirt sheet lies, but I would love to know if you guys have any scoop for us. And if not, can you make something up so that I can have a good laugh on my drive home from work? Yeah, I'll make something up. Rollins is a backstage bully and has had a lot of HR complaints for picking on smaller wrestlers.
I got a little something on this.
What do you got?
I've heard since, I guess he matured and whatnot, that he's like a very dependable company guy, But back in the day in NXT where he was coming from Ring of Honor as Tyler Black, and he was their world champion, he probably thought he knew everything. So he clashed with Terry Taylor a lot at NXT, and in fact was almost going to be released because of his attitude back then. And then he came up with the Shield, and obviously he made himself valuable, but he was almost cut for his attitude back in the day. But since then, yeah,
I'll make a good point about that too. I could absolutely see Terry Taylor having issues with people because Terry is very intelligent, but also very condescending when he's like, if you're very confrontational, a confrontational person, and you think like you could easily have problems with Terry Taylor, easily, okay? Because he's very, he's like he'll talk down to you sometimes when you guys disagree on things, But Terry's very smart too. That's why he was in the position he was for years, is because he was intelligent, and he didn't mind being the stooge. So, Coney, you got any comment on that?
What part?
Anything about Seth Rollins? You heard anything about him backstage?
No.
You see him? Do you have any comments about Terry Taylor?
Yeah, he's a stooge. But I will say this, that when I was in WWE one day, in the back, probably visiting Ray, he came up to me and he goes, I don't know if you remember me, but we wrestled in TNA. And I was like, I really don't remember. And then I went and I looked it up. Yeah, and he had a match. I don't think it was with me. I think it was the manager, and it was with LAX.
Right.
Huh?
You were managing. You're in the outside of the ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear? I looked it up real quick. Do you want to hear Seth's story about Terry Taylor?
Let's hear it.
Go ahead.
So this is when he did Austin's Broken Skull sessions. He said, one person who my attitude rubbed the wrong way, and maybe this is some leftover heat from me shunning him during contract talks, is Terry Taylor. He ended up coming over from Impact to work with developmental, and he and Hunter go back a long way. He was a mentor to Hunter. Hunter brought him in, and he was meant to coach the elite class at FCW/NXT, and Terry and I just butted heads. A lot of that had to do with Terry's a lot like me in that way, where he has the confidence in what he did to get where he was, and he was going to instill that in us. His approach was a little hard-nosed at first. And this is what he said to him. Seth said, don't get in my face. Don't try telling me what I'm doing isn't right. I'm going to get where I want to go. You just let me do me and stay out of my way. Don't try to change everything that I'm doing. I would challenge Terry Taylor in front of the class, and he didn't like that. And then later, this will wrap it up, he gets some advice where he's going to get released because of his attitude, right? So he says, I was like, oh man, my dream is about to go up in smoke here. So I go to Joey Mercury and sat down, and he said, you need to understand how to play the game. Doesn't mean you have to change who you are, but you have to play a role all the time. You're not just on when you want to be on. You have to be on all the time. You have to find a way to give them what they want while teaching them how you do things. There's a compromise. You have to figure out how to do that. There you go.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, so next is from Jais Othathenko. Jais Othathenko. Who do you guys think is the better wrestler? AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, or Daniel Bryan? I'll let Konnan answer this first.
If it's all time, I would say Bryan Danielson.
All time?
Yeah, between the three, not now.
Now
it would be like AJ Styles to me, but all time would be Bryan.
Okay, I would disagree. I'd say the one with the fewest holes, in my opinion. Okay, this is the way I view professional, because all of us like different stuff. Like people like hard hitting Japanese style and stuff, But from a skill standpoint, AJ Styles. Okay, he's good at everything. All right. Seth Rollins turned out to be very good. However, he still does things psychology-wise with selling that I'm not a fan of. Okay. And Daniel Bryan, for a guy as a technician that tries to make each match like as perfect as possible and like all the details are covered, he wrestles a little bit too rough for his size. and I think he tries too
Well, his
hard.
body paid a price
So
for it.
that's my point. He's risked his body when I think
Here's
it's
the
kind of
problem,
unnecessary.
Disco.
That's why I would say AJ is probably number
These
one.
guys that are known as great workers, whether it's Benoit or Eddie or Danielson, they feel that they have a standard that they have to live up to.
Right.
So even when they should be working smarter, they're actually working just as hard as they were when they were younger to
Right.
keep that aura about them as still being a great wrestler. You know what I'm saying?
Let me give you a perfect example, okay? And these are people. This is a guy that people probably would not be in their conversation for one of the greatest workers of all time, but in the realm of what we grew up with, what work is supposed to be, where you try and make it look as realistic as possible without hurting your opponent, and just like you don't have to kill the guy ever. You just work. Sometimes you work snug, but the point is, I'm protecting myself and protecting the other guy, but we're making it look as realistic as possible. You'd have a hard time asking people in the business like this. A lot of them would say Jake Roberts is at the top of that list. And if you watch the way Jake works or worked, like you wouldn't think like in 2024, people like, but bro, he was a prototypical worker back then. He didn't really look that physically impressive. He threw great punches. He did great kicks. He didn't do a lot of moves, but he sold fantastically.
You know who was like that, believe it or not?
Hogan, bro, these guys are like, people don't like, the concept of work has changed when
Right.
people started doing way more stuff in the matches. But the best work is when you get the fans to believe that the guy is beating you up for real, and you have made a comeback from getting beat up, and now you're beating that guy up and make it look as real as
I
possible.
know this is a gimme, but another great worker, Flair.
Flair, Jerry Lawler.
Right.
Just
Simple.
like all
simple.
the
I mean, the
simplicity
most
of-
dangerous
yes.
thing that Flair would do is that up and over bump.
Right.
Right. Other than that, he wasn't really taking any risks. He was just selling, chopping you, working
Yeah.
the crowd, great promos. Yeah.
And if you look at a guy like Terry Funk, okay, he would risk more like selling stuff than he would like doing stuff.
Yeah, because he'd take crazy bumps.
Right. The guys that are risking injury, doing offensive moves to the guy, are the ones that like, bro, that's not good work. That's
Right.
not. What are you doing? You know, the other guy, you can just tell the other guy, sell this huge. I don't have to risk my body to do something impressive to, especially if the other guy doesn't sell it that well. So I
Bro,
don't
if you
know.
tell a good story, that'll get over just
Correct.
as much, even more than one of these dangerous high spot build matches.
Right. Oh, here you go. You ready for this one, Konnan?
Real quick, you mentioned Jake. That question way back where the guy was like the most emotional angle you've witnessed or whatever. I didn't pitch in there, but Jake Roberts and
with the
Randy
snake.
Savage.
Randy Savage the snake.
Yep.
Yeah, where they showed the kid
in
crying in the
92,
crowd.
and Jake was going to hit Elizabeth, or he did hit Elizabeth actually. Back then, that was crazy.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.